Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are here for the fifth and final Ashes Test match. Now, unfortunately, the fourth one didn't quite go as people wanted. They wanted to see it 2-2, but now this is still for the chance of drawing the series for the Australians and for the English. Although Aussie, they are still in a position where they can win it. Do you see them getting over the line?
Well,
it's my dad, by the way.
Yeah. Personally, I'd like to see England win this one.
Okay.
Because then England will be able to say, well, we drew the series. We come from 2-0 down. We drew the series. We got robbed by the rain. We would have won the Ashes. And that's what they'll say.
Okay.
But the reality of it is that Australia have done enough. They struggled big time in the last test, and they were probably lucky that it rained for 2 days. But I think England have got the wood on the Aussie bowlers at the moment. So here's their first ball now.
Mitchell Starc charging into bowler Zach Crawley. Had a very good game, didn't he? In that last test match, Zach Crawley.
He did.
Managed to get himself those massive runs. Although it's a tough one when you have 2 days affected by rain, because it's like he had a fantastic innings. But other than, personal stats and whatnot, it didn't help them over the line, did it?
Unfortunately, yeah.
It would have given him some
scored
confidence.
189 runs, all the rest of it. Probably thought he'd batted his team to a win. And apart from the rain, he probably almost had. But
Starc, quick early on in his spell, little bit of in-swing.
Yeah, a bit of movement.
Yeah, for Mitchell Starc. And for Crawley, I feel like what they learnt from the last innings was you can't really afford to give that man too much early width, because he will go after it. The problem is he either misses it completely or he middles it.
Yeah.
That seems to be the two that he's got. Hanoi said, come on Oz, Nigeria football and the Bronx. Says Hanoi, and also let's get this show on the road, says Hensel. Yeah, an exciting fifth Ashes Test match is finally here. It's a little bit sad as well though, because that means after this one the Ashes is over.
Yep, for another year.
Another 2.
Another 2 years.
Yeah. Next one in Australia. You going? 2025-ish.
Wow. It's a food for thought moment, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Aye.
Looks like the pitch is relatively dry. A little bit of grass cover, but not a huge amount.
Mm-hmm. It's got a reasonably consistent cover, so.
Do you think that's why England have also picked...
reasonably consistent colour, so yeah, so...
they've picked Moenali again, but Australia have gone with Todd Murphy. And then they decided they needed a spinner.
They have really struggled without Nathan Lyons.
Mitchell Starc in the swinger again, but well blocked by Crawley. Looks like some flash new helmets for the English there. They look pretty shiny, didn't they? Although the baggy greens of the Aussies, they have not been updated for about... since they got them. I think Steve Smith's looks pretty rugged.
Yeah.
But he just keeps keeping on with it.
Pat Cummings has got a bit of wear and tear on the front of it too. Yeah. Maybe Australian cricket needed a hat sponsor.
Maybe. Surely they're getting some money from somewhere for a hat though, aren't they? And hello Hamish. And Uncle Hamish's dad says Grant. And yeah, they crammed the texts and much too fast it seems. Or the tests, sorry, rather than the texts.
Certainly not much of a gap between these ones.
No, it's quite nice. Oh, well done from Alex Carey to get a hand to that one. It's going down the leg side. But yeah, there was a 9-day gap in between the third and the fourth. And that seemed like, it was almost, I don't know, it felt too long almost in a way, but the last one finished 4 days ago. Yes. So that seems too close, but then 9 days.
They were lucky because they got the extra 2 days off. Although they got to sit around and watch the rain fall, of course. But
yeah, not much golf happening, was there?
Not much golf happening unless you want to play in the rain.
Well, Hamish says Amelia, and we got a release date for Virgin River Season 5 Part 1 premieres September 7th, Part 2 premieres November 30th. There you go.
That's a pretty uneventful first over, actually, in the context of how the series has gone. Played one ball, missed one down the leg side, and let 4 balls go past. Outside off stump.
Very timid.
Some would say boring.
Do you know
put a man to sleep? What's up with this?
Boland in the team, he is not. He has missed out, as they have gone with Todd Murphy. So Cameron Green misses out. And Todd Murphy comes in for him. Still Stark, Cummins and Hazel with the 3 quicks that the Aussies would normally go with. And then they've also got that option of Marsh, who I hope doesn't injure himself because he always does when he bowls, unfortunately. And Uncle Hamish's dad's still wearing work clothes, says Grant. He's never not working. This man.
Bit of free advertising.
We didn't plan that beforehand, did we?
No, we didn't actually, but it's worked out.
It's a good idea. I'll just have a quick drink from this drink bottle.
Kiwi Lads drink bottle. That's the story. Plenty of marketing going on there.
Oh, it had like a trapped ears.
Right.
Like
Hazelwood, the ball second over.
It's a little bit too leg sideish and nicely whipped off the pads by Duckett. He is strong on that onside. And he'll manage to get through for 2.
Should have that in the first over.
It's a double release date, says Amelia K. And part 1 is episodes 1 to 10, and part 2 is the Christmas episode, which is basically episodes 11 to 12. I see. What's the last series you watched on Netflix? I can't remember mine, to be honest. I watched Scooby-Doo the movie a while ago.
Did you?
Yeah, that was delightful. Duckett, 200 strike rate.
Not anymore.
Only 100, but it's still good. Kiwi Lads brought to you by Boofy's Building, says Grant. Yeah, if you need anything built, he's too busy. Too much work around, isn't there?
Plenty of work around. We could book it in for this time next year, maybe.
Not locally. Grant's in Oman.
Is he?
Far to travel for build a shed. I can't wait for the new season, but I will throw a brick at my TV if Jack's ex-wife Mandy shows up because she isn't welcome. I don't need more chaos for Mel and Jack. Get all that?
Wow.
It was a good ball, wasn't it?
That was a wee cracker.
Straight through. Duckett unable to get bat on it.
Didn't get bat on it. Didn't get paired on it. Didn't get wicket on it.
Odds were 41%.
Oh, moved away.
For both of these sides to win.
So a bit of seam there.
And I'm curious.
It's absolutely done him.
To know what it... Okay, now England apparently have gone up 1%, even with just this first little bit that we've seen. Is that because of the way that the pitch is going to react? That was off the outside edge, just short of Usman Khawaja, fielding at about a 3rd slip, I believe. The moment and the way they're set up. Hello from Manchester, UK, says John. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing well once again.
It was a controlled edge, that one.
Same presentation, getting it to go across and duck it.
Nice soft hands.
Ooh.
Nice soft hands. Just let it sort of take the edge and run away quietly. Straight into Khawaja's chest.
Yeah, you don't really want that kind of edge bouncing up just in front of you.
I love it when it bounces a metre in front of you.
Nicely worked to the leg side from Duckett. Another single. It's going to be my birthday 1 week from Saturday, says Amelia K. Your birthday's on the 2nd Bledisloe Cup fixture.
Yeah, 5th of August.
So depending on how the Aussies go, could be a birthday present of bringing the Bledisloe home, or could be the other way around. She is Australian, yeah. Yep. But they've had the Bledisloe in her lifetime, so that's something. Almost. Oh, no, that might almost be wrong. How old are you, Amelia? 19 or 20?
You can't ask that.
5th of August, says Amelia. I'm in Bahrain, not Oman.
Okay.
Shot off a back foot punch from Crawley. It's going to be 4 runs.
That was pretty easy, actually. They just sat up there and said, take me to the boundary.
First of many boundaries we may see from Crawley. He's consistent in terms of when he gets it. See, that's middle, isn't it?
Yeah, middle of the bat.
Yeah. Doesn't often get the edges, but when he does, he seems to go at the ball that hard that it actually normally goes over the slip cordon, which is where they actually introduced a fly slip in the last test match off him. The unfortunate side of things is they introduced it after he had edged it straight to fly slip. And then, of course, once they added him in, they didn't do it anymore. Yeah,
19 for Elliot.
Earl Haaland in the England team for this year's World Cup, says John. Where's he playing at the moment, Haaland? He's Man City, I think. Is he actually English or is he from Finland? Maybe. You know, Haaland?
Yep. Blonde fella. bad soccer player by all accounts.
Stark, a little bit of a away swing again there, but Duckett manages to tap it out for the single.
Ever seen the Wallabies win? No, you wouldn't have. Sorry, Amelia. No. And I don't think it's going to happen this year either.
Brutal.
Aye.
Brutal.
Sorry. Hate to say it.
To be fair, me and Tim, we just finished filming a podcast and we both said the same thing. In Norway, is it Nordic? Does Iceland, Finland and all those all count as Nordic?
Probably.
Is that the right word?
Yep, could be.
Well, that's because it's so cold, isn't it? Never mind. Good afternoon, says Just Carl. Welcome in, Carl.
Back to the cricket. Right.
Nice leave. Good carry. Through to Kerry. Crawley sitting on 4 of 8. Now, I did see they are supposed to have a little bit of rain in about 2 hours' time.
Oh.
Only a little bit, 30% chance, and also thunderstorms at the end of the day at about 6 p.m. So hopefully that stays away. And
we should get a full day's play.
I hope so. It would be a shame to have both of the last 2 test matches rained off. You know? Wouldn't be ideal. Stark only going for the 1 run so far. Warner, Smith. That's come back and hit the pad.
Not out, though.
Not out. Didn't play a shot. Everyone gets excited when no one plays a shot, don't they? No matter where it is.
Didn't come back enough, though. They're thinking.
They're considering it. This would be a waste of a review, I believe. And they're going to do it. Right.
Done it.
Has this moved more than we anticipated? I would say, to be honest, it's clipping off stump, but I don't see it doing enough to come right back.
Certainly hasn't come back far enough.
Although with the fact that he wasn't playing a shot, umpire's call doesn't get impacted in this, is it? It still needs the red for the final one.
Yeah, it's still going to be muddy.
Well, it's got to seam back a long way. See, I feel like it's going over the top of the stumps almost, in terms of height.
It might get a touch on the stumps, maybe, but...
So it's outside off, no shot often. So it's red, just missing by...
we smidgen.
It's not a lot at all, but it means that they lose their review.
Waste of a review, really.
The 3rd over of the day.
We could clearly see that it was missing by a mile, couldn't we?
Well, the optimism of...
Just a wee smidgen, about that much, probably.
But the thing is, that ball had to come back that much to be 3 reds, didn't it?
Yeah.
So they were optimistic. They thought it was seaming back a little bit. To be fair, like, he does set himself up quite in line with the stumps, Crawley, but Steve Smith loved it. He saw it in his mind. I still go with the same belief that we can win it every year because you never know what Aussie side shows up. However, with the way we've been going, it don't surprise me if we get flogged by 100, says Amelia. I hope it's not the case, though. He thought about having a wide crack at that one, Crawley.
He did have a crack, yep.
Just leaves it alone. I think they are Nordic,
high read,
but not all Scandinavian, says Grant there. And still, either way, the amount of respect I have for the ABs is very high because they're the pinnacle of what it means to be dominant, says Amelia. I'm sure Ian Foster would love to hear that, wouldn't he?
Foster would be all over that, yep. He'd like the media to be saying things like that.
Yeah, but they won't, unfortunately for Fozzie. No. And good evening all, says Defunk, welcome in. And also Just Garla said, I'm watching this live with you guys. Awesome. So, at the moment, it's not as easy as synchronising a... That's a good ball.
That's one that's gone the other way.
That's timing, I guess.
Aye.
He looks like he's got a bit of a scratch up. There's that Crawley that he didn't have earlier on. Do you think he's accidentally hit the ball into his head or something?
That's a beauty.
Very
Mitchell Stark's been swinging the ball in, swinging the ball in, swinging the ball in, and that one there, you just got to go away a wee bit and just leave the batsman.
Slightly shorter as well.
And he played beautifully down the line for the in-swinger. But...
Is this one last ball or the in-swing or out-swing? What does he do here?
In-swing.
In-swing again?
Yep.
Pitched up more? Yep. Although, that almost straight through,
straight-ish
wasn't
ball. Yep. Didn't swing a lot.
And I don't know what that was. That was me trying to say although.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't quite.
Yep.
I don't watch Test cricket, says Just Carl. And I managed to take down 5 sushi rolls during lunch at TAF on Tuesday. And I brought 2 new video games on on my lunch break as well. That sounds like a very eventful lunch break. 5 sushi rolls. Although, is that like a this size sushi roll or is that like a this size sushi roll? Either way, it's impressive.
Well, that's a very busy lunch break.
Exactly right. On my lunch breaks, I normally eat it. And then that's it. That is something that England will do well throughout this test match by the looks of it, is just rotate that strike.
Yeah, especially with a left and a right hander in there.
The big hand rolls. Says Amelia, I was hungry and hadn't eaten since breakfast. Okay. Did you go with chicken sushi or fish sushi? I've never actually had either.
Fish sushi?
Fish sushi? Or?
I said that fast a few times. Fish sushi?
We made sushi at primary school and they wanted everyone to try it and they pretty much demanded everyone try it. And that's where I learned how to act. Because I went...
Sucked them in beautifully.
Yep. They didn't suspect a thing.
Super observant.
Oh, nicely played. That one came back in a little bit. Tucked them up a bit.
That's a good single. Just worked it out into the leg side.
I'm excited visiting London in 4 weeks' time, says Just Carl. So what brings you to London? You're going to... Wait, 4 weeks' time, London sounds a little bit like a Rugby World Cup stage, doesn't it? Almost. That would have... Oh, not quite. No, not quite. No. Just before.
4 weeks' time.
What's in London? Carl,
do let me know. Keep an eye out for Emma.
Can I give a brief update on the poor state of Australia, Victoria Rugby and Bledisloe Week? Says Hanoi. I assume it's not looking too flash, but I'm hoping that there's some redemption coming for the Aussies. But the problem is...
wrestling show at Wembley.
Ah, I see. But, yeah, the tricky thing for Australia is unless they win this test match, they could lose by 1 point, but no one cares. If they lose, people look at it as they've lost, if that makes sense. If they lose, the media, it will be Eddie Jones fails again. Eddie Jones can't fix the Wallabies. So the only way they can get away with it is to win it.
The unfortunate thing, the All Blacks are in the same camp.
Solid.
The New Zealand media is probably about the same as the Aussie media. They're very ruthless with their sports teams. Even if the All Blacks played the best game of their lives and Australia played slightly better and won, the All Blacks would still be arseholes who didn't play well.
Yep.
Could be the best game of the season. Sometimes the other team just has a slightly better day. But hopefully it's not this Saturday.
Hi, says Patrick. Welcome in, mate. You are doing well. Chicken sushi is Russian roulette with salmonella.
A little bit of advance in there by Duckett.
Trying to take LBW out of the equation, perhaps.
Maybe.
So I know that is actually something we've seen a bit more from the Aussies. And I don't think they normally do it as much, but because they're facing England, I feel like the little things are rubbing off on them that they decide that they want to give a go. I mean, Joe Root, who would have predicted 2 years ago that man to bring up 50 runs would be playing a reverse, dual scoop?
Yeah.
You know, it's unique at the moment, the way that the English are playing, but it's entertaining. Oh,
he's attacking him straight on the leg stump, isn't he?
Yeah.
Just looking for the LBW.
So with that angle, it's going to be tricky, isn't it? Unless he can get one to maybe start on middle and cut a little bit. End of the over, 13 for none, off the 4.
There we are, classic Australia. It's just Hazelwood's just been warned for walking, running on the pitch after he's bowled.
To be expected though, isn't it?
Well, you've got a spinner in your team now, so...
That wasn't a mile off leg stump pitching-wise.
No.
It was... Yeah. You know, that was probably worth a decent...
Duckett's getting a way across to actually work those 2 leg, but he's going to make sure that he hits them, that's for sure.
Victoria Rugby and the Wallabies organised for an all-kids game to be at Powerhouse Club. The picturesque F1 car lake location due to FIFA. To cut a long story short, Rugby Australia cancelled it all today last minute. Here's annoying.
Solid.
Nice.
Yep. That'll keep the kids interested in football or in rugby.
Because I guess it's like the FIFA World Cup wise, I know that people are confused why the game between New Zealand and Australia is an afternoon. That swung a bit.
That did swing.
Well, it's going to be 4 runs for Ben Duckett, manages to slice it out through
backward point. all the way along the ground, though.
Well, it was almost... Was it a full toss to him in the end? Or did it... It was almost full toss, wasn't it?
Yeah, right on Yorker length anyway.
When we see Uncle Hamish's dad in the nets with Hamish, he was in the most recent one that I sent through Discord. He was actually the one who was feeding the balls into the bowling machine.
Very important job.
Or else I would have had a very long 2 hours.
Would have had a very long 2 hours. Especially soon as you keep missing the ball and it kept hiding and you couldn't find it.
Yeah. I only got about 10 bruises. It's not bad.
Not bad for the first session.
That's going to be a bruise for Duckett, I'd say.
Speaking of bruises.
Or did he just get the bat on it?
Well, he might have got a bat on it, but I think he wore it as well.
Just showing that dismissal for Duckett when he was stepping across the stump. So that is what Hazelwood is targeting, isn't it?
That's what they're targeting.
Trying to get him to walk across towards the off stump. I mean, batting, not just feeding the bowling machine. Oh, he doesn't really bat, do you? Not a huge amount.
No.
He shows me how to bat. He knows the techniques. He was very confused at the comment.
I have trouble with a dodgy calf muscle. Unfortunately, when you're self-employed, if you blow a calf, nobody does any work. Well,
that was close to an inch.
While you're resting up. So.
You didn't think I hit that lofted cover drive early, did you?
No, that was solid. You got to hit it early, you get it in the air.
That was close. That was back. Was that thigh pad?
He played that like you played them. Missed it by a mile.
Yeah, but got hit with it. Both media seem quite ruthless, says Annoy. I think that's just media in general, though, isn't it? And nowadays...
Media are parasites.
The only way people get clicks is if they click bait, which I still haven't mastered. I'm not very good at the old clickbait. That's a nice whipping shot from Ben Duckett. Whipped it off a full pitch delivery of Stark, used the pace of the ball, almost one bounce full. Got that one sweetly.
They're certainly targeting his leg stump, aren't they?
Yeah.
Looking for that LBW because he does feed himself a long way across from his initial setup. So if they can hit him on the pads, they're all going up. But at the moment, it's in his favour.
He's timed that brilliantly.
Yeah. And they've left a great big gap at mid-wicket to encourage him to try and play that shot. It'll be interesting to see how long they keep going for if he keeps hitting them with the bat.
Shot again. That's going to almost beat the man, is it? Oh, well fielded by Todd Murphy. Had plenty of pace on it. He wasn't there before, was he?
No.
That looks like they've made a little bit of a change.
Yep.
Putting him around a deep square leg. Already 10 runs off this over. They couldn't really afford to relieve that pressure that they had created.
4.5 overs into it, and we've got 2 men in the deep on the leg side.
Yeah.
So it's obviously a plan. They've got a plan. And they've had to protect it because he keeps hitting them.
2 men deep. Who's the guy playing with specs? That is Todd Murphy. So he is the
young pup that's coming.
Yeah, frontline spinner we'll call him, but he's the new spinner on the block.
Yep.
For the Aussies, due to Nathan Lyon being out. He's just timing it so well.
Wow.
They've got to have men back there because if that misses that first fielder, it's racing to the boundary. Maybe getting a bit too leg side though now.
I think there's got to be a little bit of variation to that. You can't just keep bowling at his leg and hope that eventually he misses one because it could cost you about 150 runs. You have to set it up with some sort of variation to go with it, whether it's a short ball, whether it's a bloody...
I was thinking that.
Ball wide outside off stump or...
About fourth ball when Stark was charging, and I thought that one should have been a little bit shorter because we know Duckett will go after it.
Yep.
So if you've got 2 men in the deep and he plays that pull shot, you know...
There's always a chance. Yep.
Yeah.
But you've got to do something better than just bowl 5 balls at his leg stump.
I like him already because I also play cricket with specs, says Just Carl. I probably should, to be honest. My eyesight's not great, is it? Oh, he's just tried to kill his teammate. Down the ground. Crawley's done extremely well to dodge that.
Aye.
Has that gone through his legs?
I think so.
Lucky he's a tall man.
Wow. Hey, that's what you want from your batting partner, isn't it? Hey, he walks down the pitch and smashes it straight back at you.
How did this miss him? Yeah, just through the legs. Duckett made a face as if to say, whoops. Wasn't quite where that was supposed to go.
Yep.
He's done well, Crawley. If that was roles reversed and Duckett was at that other end, I wouldn't guarantee you Duckett would have jumped up enough for that.
He might have been lying on the ground.
Oh, that's a fine little edge skew whiffed.
Leading edge.
Out to the man at deep point. The media replaced being honest and fair with being first and shocking. It's all about the clicks and dollars.
Yep.
Says Enzel. Yeah.
There's a popular saying that goes that don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. And that's how the media operate.
What's the other one? Half of what you hear is bull and the other half's all
Yeah, that's it.
That one.
And the only good rumour is one you've started yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy Sir Richard Hadley, says Mr. Tees. Is that like him? He used to bowl like him, didn't you? Doing medium pace.
Used to try.
Yeah.
Hadley was one of our idols when I was growing up. So everybody wanted to be Richard Hadley. That was the pinnacle of New Zealand cricket, but Waimate cricket as well. Every young kid my age all wanted to be Richard Hadley. They could all bowl off 22 yards because that's what Richard Hadley bowled off. Eventually, as you got older and wiser, you realised that 22 yards was just too far to be running. And eventually it just kept shortening and shortening and shortening. But certainly, yeah. Sir Richard was one of our greats, still one of our greatest bowlers. And, he copped, I've heard it in interviews and things like that with him, and he copped a lot of criticism when he shortened up his run-up. Because everybody expected him to charge in from a great big long run up and bowl really fast, but it actually made him a far better bowler because he started to use the ball a lot more rather than relying on sheer pace.
And I guess someone else for New Zealand who's done similar to that is a little bit Tim Southey, because he's not express pace now either, is he? But he still gets that ball to move enough that, not quite like Hadley, but gets it to move enough that he keeps a spot in the team even without having pure pace. But that's the thing, New Zealand are going to be in a bit of trouble soon, aren't they? Because they're losing quite a few of their older fellas in their team.
England are probably in a very similar situation. There's a limit to how long Anderson and Broad. I think Wokes has got a few years on him. Mark Wood's got a few years on him. I'm not sure what the bowling stocks are like in England for young fast bowlers coming through. But they're going to be looking for sometime shortly.
Targeting the leg stump would be the tactic bowling to Hamish, says Grant. Although I've got a secret shot that I don't think I'll whip out during the season. But you saw it in play yesterday, and one of them...
One?
Yeah, well, I didn't get to... I played it twice, didn't I?
That's only 50%.
But one of them didn't go too badly. It was my best scoring shot on the leg side, and it was played like a left-hander. Which is ideal, Keep them guessing. That's the big thing. Can't be showing them all this footage on YouTube without having a few tricks up the sleeve when we get to the new season. And Paddlesy was the best ever bowler worldwide, says Mr. Tees. And very true saying about facts and a good story. That's why we started spreading the rumour that Uncle Hamish's dad almost had a 60-year-old granny as a daughter-in-law. When did that story pop up? 60-year-old granny as a daughter-in-law. Oh, I know what part that's from. That was because George likes himself an older woman.
Yeah.
Right. He's very vocal about these things. Looks like Marsh is going off already. Surely not with an injury after 6 overs. And if so...
Where's he been?
He's
got injured.
Yeah, we haven't seen him touch the ball, have we?
That I'm aware of.
He's fielding down the ground?
He must have been running somewhere. But certainly these two people here.
It's Murphy and Hazelwood out that side.
Yeah.
Cummins is in his normal spot. He might have been at Gully, but he hasn't had to dive for anything.
No, don't know.
Interesting. Hopefully he's all right.
He's forgotten his hanky.
Yeah.
That'll be it.
We'll get in a massage before he bowls, perhaps.
Yep.
Try and loosen him up.
Do you think it's funny that Victoria and Bears are against each other now? They certainly probably know a lot about each other's sort of cricketing brains or cricketing thinking and all the rest of it, which is sort of make it a little bit interesting. Yeah. one of those things nowadays. Coaches come from all around the world now, not just sort of the country that you're in type thing. It's sort of with a professional era. Yeah, nice shape on that.
Because I think...
But, yeah, interesting.
Patel's with England as well, isn't he? As either the bowling coach or spin coach or something like that. So, yeah, quite a few Kiwis sticking their head into the Ashes, I guess. Glenn McGrath is my first big bowler of all time. He had great control of the ball and was very wise on how to use it, says D-Funk. Because there's been a lot of good bowlers, and something that England have definitely shown... Oh, there's Patel there, bringing the cup of coffee to someone, I think. But, yeah, something you notice is Australia are normally known for their line and length bowlers, such as Cummins, such as Hazelwood. But England have just made that very tricky to bowl throughout this Ashes series, because normally if you bowl a good ball, the batsman will leave or they'll block. Whereas England, if you bowl a good ball, they're still going to look to get a single off you, or they're going to try and rotate the strike in some way. And it just kind of hurts with the constant runs ticking over. Like, we've had 6.3 overs, 36 runs.
Yeah, still scoring at 5.5 and over. And haven't really played any big shots, to be fair.
No.
One from Duckett down the ground, where he advanced down the wicket and smashed it. The rest of them have just been, working the ball around.
I just realised he's sitting on 28 off 23.
Yep.
But, like you said, we haven't really seen any hugely risky...
But they're just feeding them runs
shots
on the league side at the moment. It just seems like a negative ploy.
It seems like they're all too happy accepting the singles off a ball rather than the boundary.
Well, yeah, sort of, but, there's the last...
That's about the last 15 balls, and we are yet in those 15 balls to have a dot ball.
No dot balls. Yep.
About
2
9
singles. 2 and probably 9 or 10 singles.
Glenn McGrath was any good, it would have been a cert, so that says something. Says Mr. Teasel. Well, that's a bit brutal, isn't it?
Well, he's probably got a little bit of time to become a sir.
Although some people do turn down a sir, don't they?
Yes. Yeah, Richard McCaw for one.
But, so who knows? Maybe he just said no thank you.
I think there's every chance that Glenn McGrath...
Where's that gone? On the ground?
He wasn't sure where it went. He thought it went straight up, didn't he?
Yeah, and he doesn't look happy.
Yeah, like I say, there's every chance that Glenn McGrath could well end up being a sir before his days is up, especially with his work through the
McGrath Foundation.
The McGrath Foundation
same thing.
And all that sort of stuff, not just the cricketing side of it. But certainly, does a lot behind the scenes for cancer research and all that sort of stuff with the McGrath Foundation. And, it's a credit to those sort of guys that to do those sort of things. They've taken the fact that they've, been successful at cricket or been successful at any sport, and then give back and put back to those that are less fortunate, or those that have got a sickness and illness, and you got to take your hats off to those sort of guys. They certainly don't have to, they can sit there and retire on the beach and say thanks very much for the good times and all the rest of it, but no, they've got to, give them back, and, it's huge.
Yes, hats off, says D-Funk. He retired a little bit early because of his wife's health. Kind of said, who do you guys think will win the 50-over World Cup? There are no clear favourites. I think Australia or India. I feel like those two sides are definitely up there. Two others that I seem to always end up bringing up is England and Pakistan. Funny enough, not the Kiwis at this stage. I just feel like on Indian pitches, they just don't seem to get it going the same way. We don't really have that world-class spinner that can help a team have that good economy rate. Yeah, it will be interesting because, like you said, there's no clear favourites. A little bit similar to the Rugby World Cup. How everyone's still guessing, that's out. Oh. That is out, isn't it? Isn't it? No. Maybe down leg.
I'll tell you what, they'll think about taking this. Maybe down leg.
I think they'll be wishing they hadn't used that prior review.
Yeah. I'd be picking, if they hadn't have blown that first review, then they'd certainly be having to think about this one.
I'm a terrible umpire.
Unless he's hit it.
Maybe. No, it's just done too much of the scene.
It's just done too much. It's going down leg.
I would have given it out.
You would have, yeah.
I don't know why they still let me be umpire.
Yeah, I don't know either, to be perfectly honest.
And yes, they do good work for charities. I think Steve Ward does a bit in India still. Says Hanoi.
Yeah. There's quite a few of them. Shane Warne was doing a bit. There's quite a lot of them. Merv Hughes does tours for the Ashes. Hi. Good fellow that he is. Hi.
He just wants to see if anyone's coming up through those drinking ranks, doesn't he? See if anyone can out-drink him.
If it wasn't, yeah, no, that's moved a heap off the scene.
Massively off the scene.
I missed it by about 4 inches, and you gave me out.
Yeah, look good to me.
Yeah. I think one of those Merv Hughes tours would be absolutely fantastic if you weren't surrounded by Aussies.
Well, that's going to be a popular opinion, isn't it?
I would imagine Merv Hughes would be fun.
Saw Time has said, where can I get a copy of the song Off the Road?
Bucket coming down the...
It's a spoof of Handlebars. It goes, I can throw just stop oil activists off the road again. Look at me throwing them out of the way. Well, I wouldn't know where to get a song. Well, I hardly know where to get a song from as it is. Spotify, I guess. You know? Spotify's handy enough, isn't it? That's all. Just Spotify's decent. Yeah.
Although they're putting their rates up, I think.
Are they?
Yeah, I saw something.
Why? Why would they want to do that? I'm going to check the odds of this one again. Not the odds of Spotify putting it up, because that's probably 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
Something else is going up in price too. Not fuel. That's already done their dash, but...
Building is.
Building is?
Yep.
There's another thingy as well that I was like, Oh, I think it was just the scoreboard thingy. How they were like, it's no longer free. But not this scoreboard, another one.
Yep.
49% chance England win it.
Mm-hmm.
And then also alongside that, around that 30% for Australia and 21% for the draw. There we go. The more you know. Nicely played there by Ben Duckett. Just chopping it away again as he does. And true, all in yellow tops. But I did one of those for New Zealand in 2011 World Cup. Got on local TV there.
Wow.
Says Hanoi. It'd be fun to be on a Merv's tour for a test. And RIP Warnie, still crazy to think he has passed. He is sad about Warnie. It was actually a really bad year. Or even a bad month for Australian cricket. Because they lost, who was the keeper? Rod Marsh?
Yep.
Was it? And then I think it was a week later or something, or maybe a couple of weeks after that, it was Shane Warne. And then not even that long after that, it was Simons, wasn't it? Andrew Simons. So they had 3 cricketers all gone within a space of like a very short amount of time. And that was during the Ashes series as well, wasn't it? Or something was on, or some series was on for the Aussies. I feel like the Big Bash commentary box just hasn't felt the same without Warne and Simons in it as well. Mark Howard hasn't been doing the Ashes, which is weird, because normally we see him, don't we? But it seems like they've gone with the slightly older, more experienced, well, not so much more experienced in commentary, but more experienced cricketers in this Ashes series.
Well, it's just the senior cricketers have pulled rank, you see.
Yeah, they wanted to go to England, didn't they?
There we go. We're going to England. We're going to England for the Ashes. Yeah. This is going to be a huge tour. All the rest of it. You young fellas, no, you can wait.
Because where's Bumble? Bumble hasn't been in the commentary box either for this Ashes series, has he?
No.
Atherton has, I believe. Same with Nasser.
Yeah.
They haven't had... Oh, that's off the edge!
Oh, it's gone straight through.
Has it hit Warner in the head or did it hit the hands? I think it went into the hands and bounced over.
I haven't hit the hands because it went straight through. Wow.
Warner he picked it up early, but he just didn't catch the ball. Off the outside edge of Duckett, pushing at it, and just smacked into the palms.
Blown straight through the hands above the head. Don't.
He's disappointed as well, Warner, as you would be.
Because that's a bit regulation, actually.
Yeah, it's just hit the backhand and just popped out. He's looking at the hands. That's the thing. He's got that much tape on all the fingers. He wouldn't have felt that.
He wouldn't have known when it hit.
No. Look at that.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Oh, mate's got a whole roll on his fingers.
I'll tell you what, it's quite surprising that the umpires haven't. He's got like a bloody. Hey, you might as well have the keeper's gloves on.
It's pretty much.
He's got that much tape on.
He's got the opposite of a fingerless glove. He's got the fingers of the fingerless glove on.
Right.
And surely that gives you a little bit of extra grip, doesn't it? All squared up a little bit there for Crawley, bit of extra bounce.
Bit of crowds, bit of movement. Well, that's certainly a big let off.
Yep. Massive chance put down. Definitely with Duckett scoring well. He's still going at over 100 strike rate. And
he went bloody hard at it, but that's a pretty regulation catch for guys of these, this quality. He's got 4 fingers taped up, 3 on one hand and 1 on the other.
His index fingers on that other hand were huge. It looked like they were swollen. Maybe that's why he's got the tape on, keep the swelling down. I went to a cricket tour with Merv Hughes. It was amazing. Love it. I'll do it again, but it was not cheap. That was close to getting that wicket at Duckett anyway. And it would have been, that was the first ball of Pat Cummins' spell, was it, or the second?
No, first.
First. So that would have been the massive help. But I'm sure in the commentary box they're probably talking about the David Warner strapping that he's got. And Go England says Octo Dad. He's disappointed. And how crucial is that going to be? Because that could have been that first wicket while England are still going at just over 5 and over.
Yep.
To then now be sitting here. Oh, nicely cut. Almost looked too close to cut, but he's managed to jam that down towards third man. Hazelwood's done well to cut it off on the boundary.
That's a good bit of fielding on the boundary for the big man.
Always put, does Merv hang out with you every day or do you get some space? I'm sure he'd let you go out and about and do what you wanted. But the thing is, would you want space if you were on a tour with Merv Hughes? Or would you just want to sit there and be like, it's Merv Hughes? You know? Him and David Boone would be an interesting combination.
And they were.
Yeah. You know? Although he's now one of the match officials or something, isn't he? He's like
Boone is,
in charge of the special stuff.
He was a good player.
I remember watching.
He didn't have all the attributes of the modern day cricketer, but certainly, he was a good player. Always a good wicket to get. Tasmanian fighter.
We have like the 1992 cricket match, I think, on a videotape between Australia and New Zealand. Somewhere around there with David Boone playing. I think that's the one that I watched a few times back when I was a bit younger. And I think he went all right in it, to be fair. Yeah, it might have been about 1992, somewhere around there. Had a few good things on. That was a nothing shot.
Yeah, playing a miss there.
Like a foot movement. Yeah, we had Mr. Bean on those videotapes. They were bloody good, weren't they? Is the ball swinging? Yep. Moving quite a bit for Mitchell Starc. Not so much for Cummins, but it does seem like he's banging it in a little bit more.
Yep.
But there's seam movement as well, which I think will be handy.
Yep.
But, yeah, other than Starc, not a huge amount for others.
So, in saying that, the other two are sort of more long length bowlers.
Marsh will
tend to be more of seam bowlers as opposed to swing bowlers, but that's a bad miss because the ball's only going to move around for so long. Oh, speak of the devil. I was about to say Marsh will be the tester because he normally gets it to move even when it doesn't seem like it's going to. You see, he's 31. He's got a weird frame, Mitchell Marsh, but the problem is, like, he looks like he lifts a bit. I think he's a farm boy, but the problem is there's little parts of him that break down every time he tries to bowl. He can bat fine, but through the Big Bash, he missed a whole season due to a bowling injury. Yeah. Then the season after that, he ended up with a bowling injury. That was too short for his style of bowling, and it's going to be whipped away out towards Todd Murphy in the deep. 2 runs. A big crowd says Octo Dad and saw Booney at the local sports shop a while ago buying a t-shirt. He was ignored by everyone except men over 30 who knew who he was, says Annoy.
And the Ireland cricket team has qualified to next year's T20 World Cup. And the West Indies and the USA. Come on, England. I hope Head okay. I didn't see it. Says Blues nay. Did he end up with a little bit of a knock, Travis Head? Because they did say, or they did show him earlier on and he looked a little bit ginger.
Well, he's certainly still out there anyway.
We had Top Gun on tape. I watched it till the tape gave up when I was young, says D-Funk. Yeah, we had a few good tapes back in the day that just got rinsed and repeated. You know? Such a hassle they were back in the day, weren't they? You had to rewind it back to the start.
Oh, yeah.
You could flip it though, couldn't you? I feel like that's fancy.
Not a video one.
Wasn't it?
No.
What one was the one that you could flip over and it... Oh, was it
Cassette.
A double-sided CD? Oh, cassette.
Cassette.
Yeah. That's still fancy technology though, isn't it?
No, it was back then.
Yeah. Flipping something and it makes a different noise than prior noise. Ice packs for Warner. Says Blues nay. Yeah, those fingers. They'll be stinging, although not as much as a hurt a drop and a catch.
Yeah, no, his head's probably hurting more than his fingers at the moment.
And it could have been hurting a lot worse if it had gone straight through the hands as efficiently as it did and sconed him in the noggin.
State of Origin on tape. Yep. Got some of them out in the garage. Still.
The almighty French cut.
Not much about that, did he?
No, he just kind of tried to play it extremely late, but it moved.
Chopped the bat down onto it and edged it out to square leg. Playing an offside shot, basically.
It's a big step up from cave paintings for sure, says D-Funk. Yeah. I remember they used to have those thingies that you could look through, and it was like a mini projector back when I was a bit younger.
Viewfinders.
Was it?
Yep.
Is that the one that you'd have like 6 images and then you'd like shine it at a wall and it would pop up?
The round disc, and you look through the things and click the button. Yeah.
That seemed fancy. To be honest, Etch-a-Sketches.
Yeah, didn't have much to do with them.
I still don't know how they work.
That was you.
You pull that thing down and it resets it. How does it do it?
Wipes the whole lot.
Yeah, I don't know how it does it. To be honest, like, not even joking, I can't work it out. I assume it's something to do with like something presses somewhere, but I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, right.
Fancy stuff. The old VHS players, classic stuff. Let's go Australia, says David the Mod. See, I would have had one in my room till I was a bit older. So I remember having all those ones, and then you just put it in, go for it. Although I'm sad that I can't remember what else we had on them.
Oh, it keeps kids amused for us.
Yeah. No ball. The first one of the test match. Only 10 overs in. I think it's not going to be the last, unfortunately. We've come a long way, says D-Funk. Although some would say...
Was that the last... Oh, that was the last ball of the over.
Last ball.
So now they've had to go back. Everybody's had to go back to a different position.
And they
so
wonder
this
why.
no-ball bowling muppet can bowl one more ball.
It's taken an over off the day now, hasn't it?
Well, it's certainly wasted a bit of time.
But does he get a wicket? Oh, Steve Smith, the diving catch attempt out to his right-hand side. I think he got a decent hand to that. In fact, he might have been the reason it went so wide. I think he actually almost got that in the palm. The way he's reacting as well.
Huge gap between the slips.
Because
he's fielding what? Second slip?
The speed this ball was going should have gone to the boundary theoretically if Smith
he's got a hand on
got the thumb. It's a good effort. Diving catch to the side, fingertip and thumb. Now, that one's understandable why it's been put down.
Yeah, but look at well, there you go.
First and
we've
second.
got first and second slip. And then we're probably third, fourth, got a fifth slip, basically, isn't it? Or a bloody second gully.
That would have been an absolute screamer.
Yeah.
To start the day.
Straight to third slip.
Which normally would be Kawaja, but he was fielding gully because Mitchell Marsh was bowling.
That's a great shot through the offside.
Duckett giving himself space. Marnus chasing that one like a madman, as he always does.
But then you sit there and think, well, if they weren't playing the 2 men deep on the leg side,
where's the other
would
guy?
they have had a third slip? You know, we're only 10 overs into the game, or nine overs into the game. But because Aussie have gone negative, No third slip, even though the ball's moving around.
Are you allowed to show the match on this channel? Sadly not. They would yell at us badly, I would think. He had a lot of time with him, just not at the game. But after you could go to the bar, after they and have dinners with him if you wanted to, and it was not just Australian people on the tour. Merv was a great host, and not just Australian people on the tour as well. Says a Mr. T. And also hot cuppa and biscuits, smoko breaks. And what you guys think of the opening game of this year's ICC World Cup? Who's playing? You know who's playing? Oh, is it New Zealand, England? Is it a repeat of the last final?
Maybe.
Is that correct, John Walters? Maybe. And Kiwi Lads Cricket says Blues Nate. Catches win matches, they do. And we'll say Australia put down 1.5 catches at this stage, because saying that's a drop catch would be harsh, but then it kind of is. But it's just, oh, that was close to the outside edge.
That's climbing a bit, isn't it?
Crawley's just looking at it down in that middle area. It already looks kind of roughed up on that pitch, doesn't it? In places, there's a lot of little
bit of debris and bloody stuff like that on it, but
yeah,
there's certainly some carry through. Pat Cummins obviously bending his back trying to get bloody something out of it, but and to be fair, it should have had a wicket. But yeah, it was mentioned earlier. Yeah, Australia just sort of missing a little bit of a trick here.
He's
flirting. There's another one beaten there, so it's just couple of good balls in a row, and then all of a sudden you create a little bit of doubt in the batsman. He was a bit late playing that. I'm not sure he wanted to for a start.
The thing
is, just gone away on him, hasn't it?
This is where Crawley, when he tries to play defensively, like some people criticise the way that he plays because sometimes he goes out playing a dumb shot.
Yep.
But he said something quite interesting, which was in the last match. He was saying about how he's tried the whole spend time at the crease, bat for a long period, and it doesn't work for him. So he said that, yes, he might have a few low scores, but the good news is every once in a while he has that massive score that then keeps his spot, because they were going through so many openers, England, a few years ago. Those are all very close, and Crawley does not like them there.
Pat Cummins was just testing him out a bit here. That's 3 playing misses and 3 balls. Last ball of the over.
Maybe lacking a little bit of confidence after that edge, because he was the one who had the outside edge to Steve Smith. On 13 off 28.
Yeah, bat on that one, luckily.
Would have been worth a shout, wouldn't it?
Yeah, no, that would have been.
55 for none.
After a good over by Cummins.
I think that's what he's got to do more of. It's a shame that this is the last test match, because he has bowled a long way off what he would normally bowl tactically throughout this Ashes series. We've seen him bowl 6 short balls in a row to Jimmy Anderson, rather than just pitching that ball up and getting it to move just a little bit off the seam and making them just second guess themselves that little bit. OMG, yes, Nigeria 1-0, overpaid Aussie woman, says Hanoi. Oh, so interesting. That's a little bit similar to New Zealand, I guess, because New Zealand won their first game, which they weren't supposed to win. But then they lost their second game, which they were supposed to win. I saw Philippines were $9 underdogs in that game. And now it's pretty much a must-win up against, I think it's Switzerland in their last game. And they're not an easy team.
No.
And all of a sudden, if Switzerland win and then Norway win, New Zealand will actually miss out. Hey, it's that guy off like MasterChef, isn't it? That bald bloke.
Yeah.
Who's that massive geezer next to him? Can you read his name tag? I'm blind, so I can't. Oh, and then there's old mate. He's an actor, isn't he?
Yeah, that's narrow.
Is that Al Pacino on the end?
No. No.
Not quite.
No. Right.
He was in V for Vendetta, that guy who was about third from the side, wasn't he?
No.
Oh, it's another no ball. Thought it out.
Does this guy bowl 200 Ks an hour?
No. No, he doesn't.
The hell is he bowling no balls for?
Well, that's the problem. As soon as they get a wicket, if it's a
Right?
no ball, we saw how much it hurt them with Chris Wokes when he was trying to get his 5 for.
Yep.
They ended up putting on about a 70-run partnership after that. It's a bit better. He had to hit that one. Crawley, straight drive, down the ground.
For 4.
Hop schwiz.
So he's just decided that he's not liking getting pinned down on that length ball. So he's just decided he might charge down the wicket a wee bit and just change the length. And at the end of the day, if Marsh is going to bowl a no ball every over,
you take the risk, don't you?
There's a bit of an average chance that even if you get yourself out, you'll probably end up being not out.
Yeah. Late evening, lads and chat. Welcome in audio. Hope you're doing well. And Australia bottled the Commie Games. Says John, and means go Switzerland. Says Enzo. I did not know that. Hello. Says Kathakea. 17 runs for Zach Crawley currently as we sit. Can you read his name tag?
No.
Kind of looks like someone, doesn't he?
Well.
But I can't quite put my finger on it. He might look like an ex-cricketer. So he might be one. Marsh, better ball, did that? That must have hit the back, did it? Boy, I was giving that one out too.
Calm down. Christ.
Everything's out of my eyes.
You're like an umpire with a twitchy finger.
A nice shot from Crawley. I didn't try and overhit it. 2,000 shoes is their live stream on my channel. Well, hopefully they don't take you down like they normally do. But I guess good luck. Hopefully it all goes smoothly. 403 series runs now for Zach Crawley. Absolutely fantastic. See him be able to step up as an opener for the Aussies. I'd be curious to know how many ducats got
for England
in comparison.
He's very fit.
He is.
Yeah, he's English.
Yeah. I think Warner was also playing for England, wasn't he? That last catching attempt.
Well, he might be looking for a new team shortly.
Yeah. Well, that is the thing. They're talking about the next opener going in there. But the question is, who is that next opener for Australia?
Hard to say.
Because they haven't trialled anyone. I know at one stage people were saying it was Will Pekowski, but that man's had more HIAs or more concussions than he scored runs lately, I think. So that doesn't work. I think he got about 8 from AFL and then like 7 from cricket.
Oh, this is interesting.
They liked that one, didn't they?
Yeah.
Reviews remaining, they've still got 2. They are yet to get a wicket. Marsh, he doesn't look certain.
They've gone for it.
That looked to me like Marsh said, I don't know. And Cummins went, you're all right.
They talked him into it.
And if England keeps this pace, we might look at 480 to 500 runs today if we get all the overs in.
Righto.
Yeah, they're pretty quick score in England.
What have we got here? It's a shit ball down leg side. Has he caught up with it?
I should have some headphones on, shouldn't I? There's a noise, but it's whether or not it could be the glove, to be honest.
Well, I think it'll have to be.
Yep, looks like the glove to me. That's glove. Back of the glove. It's going to be out for Ben Duckett. That's a good use of a review because that was probably one that they had to be relatively certain of.
Got him! First wicket down. Aye.
Now this will be an interesting
Got
time.
a feather of a glove on a shit ball down the leg side. How often does that happen?
Oh, I've had that happen
Look
quite
at
a
this.
bit.
It's just crap. Aye.
Sometimes you got to bowl that ball though. You know, that's how.
He's tried to work at the leg.
Who was it? Oh, that's how Dean Elgar went out like 4 times
Oh, it happens all the time.
in the series.
There's a shitload of people go out that way.
I went out twice this season doing a shot like that.
Dick.
Down the leg side. And luck that for Aussie. Says Hensel. And good review says Annoy. But yeah, that's actually a ball that Cummins, even though it wasn't Cummins bowling, that's a ball that Cummins will bowl often now. And it's actually a ball that England bowled to Steve Smith.
Yeah.
And Marnus, they were trying to see whether or not they can get them to catch up with it. And that's also why they play that leg slip. But it happens way more often.
Different if you've got a field set for it, where you're actually targeting it by having a leg slip or a fly slip. but, it's a wicket off what you call a rank delivery.
Very well, mate. I've been watching all Spence and Bud full fights and listening in. Good thing I'm on ACC. There's audio. Spence and Bud full fights. That ring a bell?
Well, it was Bud Spencer, but he's an old fella that used to be. Terence Hill, Bud Spencer.
Maybe.
Old school ones. Like comedy duo sort of TV fighting, but not real fighting. But don't know.
UFC on this weekend. A few big matches. Just around the corner.
See that in the DAB? It's quite a busy card, isn't it?
I feel like this time of year is when they really try and ramp it up heading into that later stage of the year. Because I think it's actually, that recent O2 card, we thought, was it at the O2? I think it might have been, but it was in England anyway. It was all right, but there were a few fights that weren't great on there, weren't there?
The last one that we watched? Yeah, no, it was shite.
The good old bad ball does the trick. Yeah. It's interesting how often the bad ball gets the job done, says Hensel. And I think it's because being a professional cricketer, you're so used to facing the good ball. And in a way, the bad ball becomes the variant. Algar gets out to a bad ball very often. We could even change that to Dean Algar gets out very often, doesn't he? But since he's dropped his captaincy, he's actually been playing slightly better. And it's crazy how many players have been rejuvenated by not being their team skipper.
Yeah.
You look at even England, Joe Root. Look how much freedom he's getting.
There's been an awful lot of cricketers over the years that have assumed the captaincy role. And then their cricket's gone downhill. Some people thrive on it. Others, no. There's so many other things to concentrate on. Even likes of Pat Cummings in this. When Australia's come under pressure and all the rest of it, at times, he struggled to come up with an answer. Very, very hard when you're trying to organise bowlers and organise fielders and all the rest of it. And concentrate on what you're supposed to be doing as a bowler.
Just showing that huddle. Marsh didn't seem hugely convinced.
No.
But I think it was Alex Carey who...
There's an awful lot of
shot. And
it really was a review that was only really sort of taken as a go on then type thing. None of them looked very confident.
But I guess in that case for Alex Carey, he would have been working on the theory of what else could it have hit.
Would have only been working on a noise. Yep.
Yeah. Nice drive from Crawley.
Simply because it was, it was fine. It was off the glove padding, so it wasn't a solid, click noise or anything like that. Like you say, they'd be working on righto. Well, it was that height. What else could it be that made the noise? It was just far enough away from his hip and his jersey.
Oh, that's off the outside edge, and that will be taken by Steve Smith. That is Crawley, I just realised. I was trying to work out whether that was Moeen Ali early, but that is going to be Zach Crawley dismissed, and both openers now gone for England. 66 for 2, looking a lot different than the 60 for none that they were not too long ago.
Just got a leading edge on that, trying to turn it to the onside.
Cummins at the moment, he seems to possibly found that length to Crawley that he doesn't like so much. Do you think if the IPL was around in the 90s, Jeff Wilson would have stuck with cricket? Says Annoy. Depends on whether or not he would have been picked up by them.
Assuming that it was all professional. We're talking here, are we?
I believe so.
Don't know.
Are you going to cover the All Blacks this weekend?
Jeff Wilson was probably a better rugby player than he was a cricketer, although he was a pretty useful cricketer. But his future was probably more set as a rugby player. I think at the time he was playing, New Zealand had a lot of those sort of middle all-rounders, you'd call them, I guess. we had a sort of steady supply of the Craig McMillans, the bloody Chris Harrises, the bloody Nathan Astors, a lot of those sort of middle order batters who could bowl, or bowlers who could bat. Gavin Larson, all that sort of era. So it would have been whether he got enough cricket to make him into a superstar cricketer, who's certainly, sporting ability, that he would get picked up by the IPL.
Because theoretically, only a few Kiwis were getting selected, weren't they? Even now with the IPL.
Yeah.
In terms of, you get that list of 3 to 5 that make the switch, and it's whether or not he would have been classed as a good enough all-rounder to be better than some of those other guys back there in the day.
Yeah.
If you had to pick between Jeff Wilson or Jacques Kallis, I think I know which one the IPL would have been going for.
But even from a New Zealand perspective, you had Nathan Astor, you had Chris Cairns, all sort of around that sort of era, that have turned out to be top all-rounders for New Zealand. And who knows, Jeff Wilson could have been too.
Up the Aussies, nothing better than hearing the Poms cry, says Jake the Muss. And also we have got going to cover the All Blacks game this weekend and who you're going for. So we will be covering the All Blacks, also Fiji versus Samoa. I am going to be covering Argentina versus South Africa, also being covered on the channel. So plenty of rugby action happening this weekend. I just hope they're close games. For the sake of the Rugby Championship, I feel like all sides want to have a decent last game. But, it's a tricky one to try and predict because quite a few sides have gone with those new look teams that we're not really used to seeing. In fact, I'm going to check whether or not Argentina have announced their side because earlier on they had not. Fun fact.
Okay. Yep.
So they left it relatively later than anyone else. We're still waiting.
Right, asked to continue.
Ooh. Ball came back a little
bit of shape. Yep. It's an interesting one because it's sort of starting to get down to sort of the business end of the year as far as the rugby goes, isn't it? Yeah. The World Cup effectively just around the corner now. So, teams are sort of starting to get to the stage now where the next big decision is who do you take to the World Cup? You've got to finalise your team for that. You're getting into the stage where you can't afford to be sort of messing with your team too much more.
Still a secret.
Argentina.
Now they're keeping it very quiet. And good points about Wilson in the cricket landscape back then, says Hanoi. And also, was the morning turning to gold for the Aussies, says Yenzel. 2 wickets, 2 big wickets in the 2 openers. But Joe Root for me is that next big wicket that if they can get that before the end of the session, they'll be laughing.
Then it'll be just about Australia's session, I would imagine.
Though Moeen Ali's not a bad wicket to pick up either, is he? After what he was able to do in the last innings, I think he got about 60, somewhere around there for England.
50 anyway. Yep. Yeah, Australia would have been just sort of starting to get a little bit of worry there that they hadn't picked up a wicket, especially with the ball moving around as much as it has been. So 2 new batsmen here now, so they'll be keen to get another one before lunch. Because certainly, if you can get one, sometimes you can get 2. So there's still plenty of movement, although the ball's, it's only 13 overs old, I guess. Yeah. And it hasn't been to the boundary as often as what it has been in previous games. So the ball will still be in reasonable condition, I would imagine.
I think it's got a nice big seam because we've seen quite a bit of seam movement for Australia so far today, which is something that last pitch that they were playing on at Old Trafford was lacking because it just seemed like at times, no matter what you did, that ball was still going straight through. And I think that's where Australia struggled a bit, whereas at the moment, it's a nice shot from Moeen Ali, whipped off the pads. Mitchell Starc around the boundary, just keeps it in the field of play by the looks of it. And in the IPL, some players played good, but most of them underperformed. But in most of the international games, they played way more better than the IPL. And that can be down to the conditions, can be down to the pressure, can be down to just where they're batting in the lineup, whether or not they, some players
what their
just
role
need,
is. Yeah,
the right opportunity. A lot of those players can thrive, but unfortunately, sometimes, the stars just don't quite align for them. We've got a donation from Bevan Jackson there. He's got the super sticker. Thank you very much, Bevan.
Very good.
Hugely appreciated. And Hamish, I've been playing Session Skate Sim. I swear it is impossible to ollie, but that might just be because I'm used to Skate 3 Flickit system, says Amelia K. So Skate Sim's that new one, isn't it? I believe, and you're doing an amazing job, no worries, mate. Thank you very much, Bevan. We've got plenty more coming. We've got the Ashes tomorrow night, rugby all throughout the weekend. I think that the tricky one of the weekend is going to be, I think it's day 4 of this Ashes test match, mainly because we would have been up a majority of the night before, and at that stage would have done about maybe 10 hours of streaming. So my voice, whether or not it works for day 4 of this test match, is a wait and see scenario. Steve Smith liked that one too. Sunday night. Should be all right, shouldn't it?
So what's that mean? You're not available for work on Monday?
No, I'll be up for work on Monday. She'll be right. And catch up on sleep the next night. Go to work, go straight to bed afterwards. Root, high bat lift, shot. I threw the hands at it, so it can be considered slightly risky. Definitely with some of the carry that we've seen going through, but he likes to play a confident style now, Joe Root, of not taking 300 balls to get 100. He'd much rather get in about 150 and say, that was very high on the bat.
A little bit high on the bat, wasn't it?
Goes to Todd Murphy. Fielding at gully. Do we see him have a bowl in this first session, do you think? Or do you think they'll leave him out?
I think I'll leave him out.
That one's come back in.
With the ball moving around like it is, I can't see the point in wasting overs, basically.
Yeah, I'd say...
Especially with 2 new batsmen in, anyway. Might have been different if, they were none down, and you still had 2 established batsmen. You might try, an over a spin or 2 overs a spin, just to see if you could buy a wicket, basically, or try and, eke one out with a little bit of extra bounce with the new ball or a bit of turn with the new ball. But 2 new batsmen, ball still moving around. I can't see any point. That's going to be Root's first boundary.
He's thrown himself at that one, Todd Murphy. They've already lost 1 spinner. They do not need to lose another. Definitely not on day 1. That would be a bit rough, wouldn't it?
That would actually be a bit of a disaster, to be perfectly honest. Root's just run that one off through the gully region.
Murphy just not quite.
He's about a foot behind it, wasn't he?
And just you, or you're getting other people to help you? What's the time in New Zealand? And you are nothing? You North or South Island? So I am South Island, to answer that side of things. The time in New Zealand currently is 11:15 p.m. So these Ashes days normally go through to about 5:30 a.m. I don't think he's edged that, but that was not the take that Alex Carey would have liked.
Wow.
How has he not edged that?
Well, it's probably a fantastic thing that he hasn't.
Jeez, that was close. I think he just got beaten for pace.
Just jump. He's just getting a bit of lift.
Yeah, he feathered at it a bit, didn't he?
He feathered at it and then he sort of bailed out at the end, didn't he? Just tried to hold the bat back, which was probably all that saved it getting the edge, but then Carey put it down anyway.
And then just you or getting other people. That part of it is just going to be myself for the rugby weekend overall. So every second that we are live, you will see at least me. Which, some people, that would drive them insane. But, Yeah, we'll be here all weekend, which is nice. As long as we've got a voice for most of it, that's all that matters.
Others of us will be doing something else.
It's such a sleeping for when South Africa play Argentina at 3:05 a.m. Just showing the play and the misses from Crawley. It was that length, wasn't it? From Pat Cummins. Slightly shorter than he would normally bowl in this Ashes series, mainly because anytime he's bowled that length, I think he's been trying to bowl it too wide normally, so he just gets worked away, but he's getting it just outside of that off stump. They're also showing the interception points from Ben Duckett, using his feet to rotate the strike.
Certainly a good grouping, though. So he's found the length that's awkward.
Yeah.
Just short of a good length. Ball's just bouncing through, getting a little bit of lift, making it very, very hard to sort of accurately attack effectively.
I think they're only getting through 27 or 28 overs in this session. Just looking at how long. It's been an hour and 15 to get through the 15.
Yeah.
45 minutes remaining. I'd like to think they'll get through about, more than 11, but...
No, I don't think it will.
No.
You're looking 25 overs.
Yeah, George.
Hey, George.
4.81, still a quick run rate, and that's one benefit that England have, is they score quickly, so that if they lose wickets, it's still
progress
there.
in the test match. Yeah.
I think that's where Crawley, maybe they slightly messed up just a tad, with the fact that it seemed like straight after Duckett went out, he became the aggressor, and Moeen became kind of more of the anchor, because he did play quite an aggressive cover drive relatively quickly after Ben Duckett went out. But then I guess he also can't really go too far into his bubble of not hitting, or else then he gets in trouble. This is an interesting... Oh, he's chopped on, Joe Root. I was about to say interesting field set, 2 slips, 2 gullies, but neither of them were relevant in that scenario because Root has chopped it onto his stumps. That is 3 down now for England, and he was the big wicket we spoke of. They got Root. Hey, Australia would be more than happy. Too close to cut. In swinger from Hazelwood. He's picked up the wicket of Root. All 3 of the Aussie quicks getting themselves wickets at this stage. Hello, says Junaid. Hello, Junaid. Hope you are doing well. Joe Root has just punched his bat. Make sure not to do a Devon Conway, or else you'll miss the World Cup.
Yeah. It's a really, really good bit of bowling. Joe Root's shown a tendency to try and run everything down through gully, through the slips, or out through point. So Hazelwood's given him an in-swinger that's just come in a wee bit off the seam. It's got too close for him to cut or to try and run, and he's ended up bottom edge, chopped it on the stumps.
Yeah. Now Harry Brook makes his way to the middle.
Yeah, well, this session's just sort of starting to get a little bit interesting, really, because England are going to be a little bit careful here that they don't lose, 4 or 5 wickets in the session and actually put themselves behind in the game. At the moment, like you were saying, they've scored 73 runs. They're sort of, the run's not terrible. The run rate's up there, but they can't really afford to be losing too many more sort of cheap wickets.
Yeah. Quite a bit of grey cloud in the background there. I mentioned that at about, I believe it was 12 or 1 local time, it's supposed to be a little bit of rain as a possibility, which is in about an hour's time for us. Okay. Somewhere around there for that 1 p.m. And also we have got the new, says Junaid, and all says Kathik here. And England is not down and out till Stokes is out. He could T20 and take the game away, says Hensel. Although it's tricky being a first innings of the test match for England, because this is where they really need to build a lead. Because
this will certainly be interesting here, because Harry Brooks has shown a willingness to hit the ball.
Yeah.
And he's almost in a position now where he can't sort of swing at everything.
It's been left alone, and that one has definitely carried through to Alex Carey. They're just showing this one here. The seam came back in. Joe Root Didn't quite get it right. Hazelwood, he didn't quite know how to celebrate there. He almost did the double-armed windmill, didn't he? Haven't seen him do that one before.
It's just a nothing shot by Joe Root.
Chopping it on. And not sure why this reminds me of when Kane used to score a lot of runs at around fine at third man. When teams caught on, he struggled and edged it a lot for a while. Says Junaid.
Yeah, true. He did. Yep. Used to be his go-to shot, just to run it down soft hands through slip cordon or through gully. But it does bring in that, under edge. Basically, when it gets too close to you.
I think the good news for Australia in this test match anyway is they have bowled accurately.
They've bowled a lot more length balls.
And due to that, they were able to almost trap Joe Root with that consistency outside of off stump. Whereas, like, by now, in let's say last test match or the test match prior, they would have bowled like 2 short balls to him just to test out whether or not he was going for it. And the runs, they're drying up. They don't need to offer England singles all the time. They want to go for that power shot. Go for it. The ref just bumped the Broncos dude over. On his way to score, great defence. Says Solid. And also, Aussie's not infect in the last Ashes test lead by 2-1. Ashes and then again come Australia. Says Naveen. So yeah, at this stage they cannot lose the Ashes series. They can draw it and still retain. They cannot lose it.
Yeah.
What's the bowled out total for England here in this first innings that you would consider it almost a win for Australia? In terms of from here, they should be able to win the test match.
I think anything under 300.
Australia in with a real shot.
And Australia in with a real shot. Yep.
4 runs to Harry Brook there. That was almost the glider down towards backward point, wasn't it? Just playing it quite late, trying not to push it.
Although he did push out in front of his pad a little bit there. And ultimately, instead of going through the covers like he was hoping, it's gone through sort of backward point, isn't it? Yeah.
That ball's moving.
Yeah.
It's not an easy time to bat at the moment.
This is certainly going to be an interesting last half of this session. I think Australian bowlers are actually on top here.
Which is a sentence that hasn't been said.
Not very often through this series, anyway. Well, apart from they had these couple of sessions in the first 2 tests, but overall they weren't actually on top. It was more sort of England sort of let it get away a wee bit on them, but certainly, Harry Brooks.
Come back in as well.
Harry Brooks likes to hit the ball. And he's had a pretty good run so far because the people before him have been whacking the ball all over the place, so he hasn't actually come in under a bit of pressure. That'll hurt.
Well, that would have almost been just above the thigh pad. I've got a bruise there.
Jumped up and got him right on the hip bone, I'd say. But so it'd be interesting to see how Harry Brooks actually plays here.
Do you think Australia have come into this test match slightly frustrated after that last game? Because a lot of, it's off the edge, but it's dropped by Alex Carey. Put down.
Australia have caught everything in this series.
He's caught the Bairstow bug.
Aye?
And that one, he has not been able to take. That was probably almost...
It's just a regulation edge through to the keeper.
Warner didn't look like he quite wanted it. He kind of backed away, didn't he?
Well, it's keeper's catch all the way, but he's only got one hand at it.
I think he thought it was going a lot wider.
He's only gone with one hand.
It's gone through, though, off the edge, but it's still flirting with danger for the Aussies here. Cummins, the follow-up ball. Another very solid delivery. He's had 2 drop catches now off his bowling.
I was just about to say, he'd be lucky he's actually got that 1 wicket because he'd be starting to think to himself, what does he have to do?
It's just too casual.
It's just gone smack it into the one hand and dropped it.
Yeah, I feel like Australia, after that last test, with people saying, it would have been a drawn series, it would have been sitting Like, they don't want to draw this overall series now. They want to win it 3-1 so that they can be like, right, anyone who said that we would have been in that decider, we still would have won this.
Yeah. That's 100% what Australia want to do.
Mm.
Yeah. They don't want to have England going, we would have won the Ashes if we didn't get rained out. Australia want to go, we retained the Ashes because we beat you 3-1.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, one game was rained out, but you lost.
Piers Morgan was quite vocal lately about the Aussies. Says annoying New Zealand versus Australia underarm ball game in 1975 World Cricket Series. Says Naveen.
We haven't forgotten.
And even if the Aussies win this test, I have a feeling the English media will claim England victory, a moral victory, and Rain won it. Can't wait. Says Enzel. But yeah, that's why I think it's clear that Australia have come out with an extra fire lit underneath them, because you know, they want to be able to say we won rather than we won on technicality.
They don't want the English media getting into them and saying, well, look, you know, you got lucky. They want to prove a point that they're the world test champions, #1 test team in the world, and they want to make sure that the English media knows about it. So the last thing they want is to look bad in this test match and have England end up 2-2.
I think Kerry, he's let himself down there because he actually very early decided he was going with one hand. So his other arm actually ended up way out to the side, which meant that by the time he probably realised it was a bit closer, that arm was never going to get back there.
No.
Oh, Moanali almost chopping on to the stumps also.
See, there's a little bit of doubt starting to come in here with the English batsmen. We're just not sure how much it's moving or where it's going. It's certainly not easy batting conditions.
And normally with Moanali, he goes out there and he plays quite aggressive. But now he's almost in almost in a night watchman role.
He's got to come in now and play a traditional number 3 role, where he anchors the innings, as opposed to the normal role where he's sort of got a bit of freedom to have a hit.
And to be fair, he does that very well, working it to that off or lead side and just rotating the strike.
Yep.
Getting Brooke back on strike now, but they're showing Cummins. Is this going to be his reaction? Oh no, these are the drop chances off Pat Cummins bowling. In fact, they are just showing the Australian drops in general, which at this stage are 3, which is, to be honest, more than they've probably dropped in the last 2 or 3 test matches.
They've caught everything right through the whole test series. And then all of a sudden, 3 down early.
And that's the time that if you take that, that's Brooke gone as well.
Oh.
Which then brings you Stokes before lunch on day 1.
Yep.
I mean, that's still a possibility, 32 minutes remaining, but I'm sure they much rather would have had Stokes there. Because England at the moment, if they can't find someone to anchor, they are in a little bit of trouble in terms of they could be looking at 8 or 9 down at least after 2 sessions.
Bairstow likes to hit the ball. Doesn't defend that well. Certainly doesn't defend that well against a moving ball. Stokes likes to hit the ball. Stokes very strong on the leg side, not so strong on the off side. So a moving ball, floating around outside off.
I think Steve Smith wants a man out in the deep. Or does he want to... That might have been a bat pad. Was that what that little signal was?
I'm not sure.
Because it looked like he was saying back for a start, but then he kind of did that as if to say maybe get someone in close, either as a double bluff or just as a bit of an idea chasing that one. That looked like a drop as well, was it? I don't know whether Kawaja got the hand to it. It was racing.
Certainly through the...
So Marsh looks disappointed as well. Maybe it went right in between the both of them.
All of a sudden, we're back to 3 slips in the gully now, though, aren't we? No, they've done away with that study. Let's bowl down leg all day. He goes hard at this. It's outside off start.
Nah, straight through.
Through the
Can't
gap.
call that as a drop for Kawaja.
Through the gap. 4th slip country.
And Piers does love cricket, though. So he's kind of promoting it around USA, etc. by his online presence, says Hanoi. And yeah, the MLC in the US now recently firing up, isn't it? The Overseas Cricket League. It can't be a bad thing, can it?
No, it's certainly good. Eh? The more places around the world they start playing cricket, the better.
And also with that World Cup being there for the T20 World Cup shared between US and Caribbean or West Indies, I think it is, isn't it?
Yep.
Right, they've got the bat pad now and play for Moeen Ali. Although he is about maybe 5 or so extra metres back than you would normally see him, but that is fair enough because Moeen Ali is likely to play a pull shot.
Well, I think the ball's still hard too, of course, which means that, if you get an inside edge or anything like that, the ball's actually still going to be travelling. So you've got to give the ball going close half a chance of seeing it.
Yeah.
Carries 20 metres away and he never saw the last one.
Poor fella, eh?
Huh? David Warner here, an early morning wake up. Hey, here it comes now. I've dropped it.
That's not the way you want to start a test match, is it?
No.
Because,
No.
You've waited 6 days or so since the last bit of action took place. You're all fired up. You haven't been performing with the bat that well. If you're in David Warner's shoes and you're like, right, we'll just get through this fielding. The boys are bowling well. Catch goes down and all of a sudden the confidence goes down to your shins, doesn't it?
Pat Cummings finally wins a toss.
You
finally get to do what you want to do. And then you let your skipper down and let the ball go straight through your hands.
Oh, that's an ugly ball right into the elbow of Moeen Ali, I believe.
Yeah.
I looked very close to it either.
He didn't play that particularly well, did he?
Couldn't decide if he wanted to duck or lean, I think, there. Oh, it might have hit him on the shin guard.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, not the shin guard, the arm guard.
Hit him on the arm guard, I think.
Maybe wrist. There's a bone there. That wouldn't have felt too nice.
Nearly glove country.
It's like right up in there. That'll old bloody, what's it called? Your radical. That would have jarred it a little bit. I think that's the radical bone in it.
We're just trying a little bit of short ball attack to Moeen Ali here. Just for
radical?
Radius.
The radius. And that in the circle?
Yeah. Halfway around your head.
I've got a skinny head. I've been told on streams before. And I actually understand it now because when I try and put headphones on, I do have to have them right up tight or else they fall off.
This means your ears aren't big enough.
No, they do. They are quite.
Right.
Oh, it hasn't gone where he wanted. That's like me at the nets yesterday trying to play the league side. Got hit with the ball constantly, just bang after bang. Although at some stage on this, I'll have to show him a cover drive shot, won't I?
I'm guessing.
See how they like it. Come on, Nigeria, says John, for Nigeria. 2-1 goal up against the Australians. That must be getting relatively close to the end of the game, though, I'd think. Maybe. The sad truth is we lost the first 2 tests, says John. Yeah, and any time a side put themselves in a 2-0 scenario, it's always going to be tough to come back and win a series.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, England have proven that they've got some fight in them and, they've got potential. Maybe if this was a 7-match series, I'd actually say England had a decent shot of coming back into it. But it's just those first 2 make it very tricky because then you're heavily relying on an unpredictable weather pattern to supply you with good weather for 3 test matches straight. And to be honest, we're probably lucky that we got the result on the 3rd one without much weather affecting it. We'll be lucky to get through this one without much weather affecting it.
Yep.
But
the English summer's not renowned for continually dishing up long dry spells.
No.
Unless you're in the middle of a heat wave. But
next week, warm-up matches, 4 games from 2 a.m. New Zealand time, finished at 10 a.m. Is that for the cricket, Nate, or for the rugby? Well, we're 7 degrees Celsius here, so we aren't exactly cranking up the heat either, are we?
Minus the wind chill.
Yeah, it was cold today.
But we are in winter.
Yeah.
Yep.
Winter golf. Didn't hurt anyone, did it? Actually, that's a lie. Who was the cricketer who got injured playing golf? Bairstow. He was playing a bit of winter golf, wasn't he?
Something.
Glenn Maxwell, he thought he'd play an innocent game of Twister.
Yeah.
Another nice ball from Hazelwood. Just getting that one to drift away from Harry Brook enough make it miss the outside edge.
They've just found the length on this wicket.
Yeah.
Very, very quickly. There's enough movement, enough buddy
it's
variation that it's just sort of at that hip height, isn't it?
It's that awkward length where you don't know if you should go forward or go back.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't know whether you're playing a pull shot or whether you're playing a straight shot.
Nicely played again. We've got a donation for your hot cuppa for Kiwi Lad's dad.
Oh.
There you go. You'll be able to get some Bell. That's the one you have.
Bell tea.
Bell tea.
Gotta be good for you.
Euro World Cup 2023 warm-up matches Scotland and France. Says Blues name. Oh, is that next weekend as well? Ah, I thought that was the weekend after. My bad. I thought that we had one more in between an Ireland and Italy. Says Blues Nate. Scotland and France. There's some good games taking place next week, that is for sure. Nigeria 3 goals. Woo.
Oh.
Says Annoy. Well, that will almost secure it, I think.
Aussie would have been a favourite for that, wouldn't they? Or
probably. It seems like it's similar to the Men's World Cup, where I remember those first few games, like Saudi Arabia bet Argentina. They bet the side that won the whole thing. And then who else lost? I think Spain lost early on in one of their games to a side that they were definitely not supposed to.
Yeah. So certainly early on, before people sort of find their form or find their mojo. It's always open for a first round balls up, basically, isn't it? Or a first round surprise. But once they sort of get into the tournament, they sort of get with the program, basically, and those good teams come through. But certainly, well, I don't know much about Nigeria soccer, but certainly, Australia women's soccer is obviously fairly strong.
Yeah.
So, 3 goals. Was it 3-1, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'll take it.
Oh, I would say so.
Hazelwood, 1 ball left of his over. Oh, bit over pitched maybe, but Brooke was willing to go after it, and that will be 4 runs.
Had a slash at it, no foot, not much foot movement.
No.
Just swung the bat, basically. So either going to be a flying catch through the cordon somewhere or out through the covers. One of the few balls that's actually been pitched up, wasn't it?
Just missing that one, Travis Head, the point region. Decent way to end the over, though. Get some runs on the ball for Brooke. He has been scoring a little bit slower than he normally would. Currently sitting at 13 runs off 18 balls into 20 overs. 20, we're going to struggle to even get 27 overs in this session, I think. 22 minutes remaining in the session, 11:38.
Oh, you'll be looking at 25 overs.
Which is rough, because
26 if you're lucky. But
that's where that last test match, how much extra cricket could we have seen if they had just gone that little bit quicker? Also, next week, Samoa versus Tonga clash with the ABs and the Wallabies second test, and South Africa, Argentina. And Fiji play Japan. It's a big old week. That's a nice drive from Moen Ali. In fact, he's almost timed that well enough that Kawaja, that's going to hurt. Misfield out in the boundary. 4 runs. Aussie not looking themselves in the field.
They've just let themselves down a bit in the field, haven't they?
But it's almost weird because they've let themselves down fielding-wise, but the bowlers have been better.
Yeah.
So it's almost done a straight switch, hasn't it? And good night. I got a big day on the farm tomorrow. Says Octo Dad, so hopefully it all goes smoothly for you. Hopefully the animals behave themselves.
They won't.
No, they never do they?
No.
Start from Stark. Nicely played from Moen Ali. I think at the end of this one I'll show him a covered drive.
You reckon?
Yeah. I think that's probably the best shot I've played in the nets. Other than the ones later. Like the one that I stepped way off the leg and slashed out through cover. That was a beauty, wasn't it? But that one wasn't filmed.
Of course.
Sadly. So no one knows it happened. Other than you. You saw it. It's alright, wasn't it?
I'll never remember it.
Stark. Still got plenty of pace on the ball, a little bit leg side-ish. It's the pads in Moeen Ali. I don't think he caught up with that one. Single.
Down under 4.5 and over. Probably slowest run rate in English in the Test series.
Yeah, they're bringing him back nicely. They've still got 20 minutes though. At the moment, there's that feel of it's like 1 or 2 overs before lunch, so England are being slightly more disciplined, and they don't want to end up getting out playing a risky shot, but there's still time to get Stokes to the middle here, if the wicket can fall. Which, to be honest, it's looked likely.
Certainly still opportunities there.
3 slips, all very tightly compact. The gully's still in play for Harry Brook and Mitchell Stark. Trying to get that ball to go straight across. In France, Ireland, England, New Zealand, Oz, I think the Boks have no hope. Says Inouye, is that for the World Cup? Inouye? I think Springboks are definitely going to be up there.
The Boks have always got a hope. I don't think you could ever write a Springboks team off.
Yeah. Well, most of the time you don't know what the exact tactic's going to be until you've seen it.
Yep.
In a World Cup scenario. How about the Cricket World Cup, says John? I think of those 4 or 5 teams that he's listed there, probably only 2 of them. Oh, it's gone through that gap again between Marsh and Khawaja. Riding his luck at the moment, Harry Brook.
He's going to need another edge on that bat, surely.
Get in the hang of it.
Aye.
You're going to find the outside edge, just keep on getting it straight through that gap. It is a big gap, to be fair, but he's perfectly found it for the 2nd time in a row. And that one almost would have carried to a man if there was a 4 for a 5th slip in play. Now, what's up, Hamish? Joining late. Did you see England draw this Ashes series? Or, sorry, do you see them? I mean, they've certainly made it challenging for themselves at the start of this innings, but nothing's impossible as the English side
I see them drawing it.
have shown.
I'm going for a draw.
Going for a draw.
Yep. No, I'm going, yep. English win.
Oh, that would have been plum LBW if that had ended up going through.
But plum LBW, but it would have been bloody sore on the toe.
Those are the worst ones. The ones that you get out, but also...
That's a dirty old sand shoe crusher.
Yeah. 2 wickets down since I left. No good, England. Says Defunk. Although these 2 building nicely again. Brook sitting on 18 off 21. Ali 7 off 18. But even those 2 numbers in terms of their scoring rate, like that's not exactly slow, is it? Like Moeen Ali, yes, a little bit slower near the start of the innings, but that's still not a terrible rate. It's the end of the over, which means I'll have to show me cover drive. This was at the nets yesterday, and after many bruises, I finally got a shot right. It's 6 seconds long, so we'll see you all very, very shortly. But yeah, this is a cover drive from yesterday. Best cover drive I've ever played. Never would play it in an actual match though, because I'd get scared that I'm just going to hit it straight to a fielder. That's a beautiful cover drive from Harry Brook, although he tried to hit his along the ground.
He did.
Whereas I went lofted.
And he didn't move his foot over like you did.
Didn't he?
No.
Less foot movement.
Less foot movement.
I read that one from Defunk. And I lost confidence in the Boks after Ellis Park last year in Mount Smart. They seem to not perform when you expect them, says Inouye, although that can be down to selections. Everything along those lines, trying to find the right combinations. It's intriguing with what they've done this weekend because they've mentioned that they had to go with the 5-3 split because they didn't have enough players for the 6-2 due to injuries. Or at least that's what they said. Oh, Harry Brook, he's whipped that away to the leg side, and I believe that's gone all the way for 6-2 back-to-back boundaries for Harry Brook.
Well, that was interesting.
Came out of nowhere, first 6. Also, we've got that nice, says audio. And also, nice solid contact, says Inouye. Yep, just rocks back.
Harry Brooks has decided I'm not going to put up with this bloody shit that bounces around my hip point.
Bang.
I'm going to go big on the leg side.
Wrist flick as well, wasn't it? All power. And can New Zealand win the Cricket World Cup, says John. It would be very impressive if they do, let's just say that.
We'll need a bit of luck.
Was that at
Need a bit of luck. It's certainly not super conditions for New Zealand cricket.
No. And they haven't got Michael Bracewell, who probably would have been their spinning option. Also haven't got Kane Williamson for that World Cup.
Yeah.
So they're missing a couple keys, I'd say.
New Zealand would be at reasonably long odds.
Pushing at that one. Harry Brook, but he does glide it down to deep third man. Was that at the Edgar Sports Centre? I don't believe so. Not unless that one has a different name. No. Where's the Edgar Sports Centre? Is that Christchurch? No? Whereabouts is it? It's over so far. It's gone for 12 runs or 4 balls.
It's been very busy.
Going aggressive here, Harry Brook.
That was at the Waimate Event Centre.
No, we can't give them too much promo because they don't pay us.
No, yeah,
they don't give us discount. They tried to overcharge us, didn't they?
Assholes.
Oh, Dunedin. Says Defunk. Nah, a little bit north of Dunedin.
Yeah, a couple of hours north.
Oh, end of this over, we'll have to show it again, won't we? It's the only good shot I'm going to play this season.
Surprised you haven't put it on a loop.
I just keep
it going.
Have it down in the bottom corner, shouldn't I? It just keeps on playing.
Over and over.
Yeah.
He's told us about it 50 times.
I also told you about the ones that hit me in the leg and whatnot, though, haven't I? It's always funny using those bowling machine balls, though, because you get the pattern in your bruise.
You get the dimples.
Yeah, you get the nice little parts where the ball hasn't really struck, and then you get the big parts.
It's
just purple circles. End of over. You're saying you want to see it again.
Oh, yeah, let it roll.
Alrighty.
Hey.
One more time for the road.
I know, man.
Look at that. Hey, Marnus would be proud.
Solid.
How fast was the delivery to you on the clip? That one wasn't as quick, was it? Like 60?
Yeah, 60 mile an hour.
Which works out to be about 98.
96k, 98k.
Yeah, 96.
Yeah.
Yeah, so not the quickest that I was facing that day. It was more at the end, how we were running, well, we were pretty much at the end of the session, so we thought, we'll just chuck a few down.
I haven't done that.
Which is why I also played a reverse cover drive. Lofted as well. It actually came out in the middle of the bat, which was a surprise.
Short ball from Mitchell Stark. So we look like we're going to target Molinelli with a bit more short stuff.
Tell you what, that one that I got hit on the back of the thigh / buttocks region.
Oh, the arse shot.
Yeah, I felt that last night when I was rolling over in bed. When I was trying to go that way, I was like, oh, no, maybe the other way will do.
Like flick on the way past, like getting hit with a tea towel. Right?
Yes.
One of those ones that doesn't actually hit into you, just flicks on the way past.
Oh, and Ali getting hit on the wrist guard so far. Oh, how's he missed that?
Oh.
Just
sucked him in. Well bowled. Well bowled.
I'm just happy we finally won a few World Cups in the last 13 years after inventing the game and watching those convicts winning all the bleeding time, says John. Yeah, although it wasn't without its controversies in that final, was it? Just saying. The T20 World Cup, though, that was fair play, wasn't it? For the English. They did win the most recent T20 World Cup, didn't they? England? They beat Aussie in the final? Pushing at that one, Mo and Ali. It's so weird that we had 2 T20 World Cups pretty much year after year. It gets very confusing. Because Australia won the first one, didn't they?
No, England beat us, didn't they?
Was that the first T20 World Cup or was that the second one? That was like back-to-back type thing.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
I think Aussie beat us in the final of the first one. Or were they playing England? I was not one in the spirit of the game, says Enzel. Very confusing. 2 World Cups in a row. Yeah. Everyone remembers the 2019 one, though, don't they? Good old ODI. That was one of the first cricket games in a while that I had stayed up late to watch. I stayed up till about 6:30 a.m. because the Super Over, it took a little bit more time. But, yeah, it was eventful. That's the way we roll because we've been set free. Has said, hi, mate. Hello.
Oh, that's his name.
That's his name. That's first part.
Yep.
Message high mate.
Oh, okay.
3 slips, although, just to mention, about a 5th slip at the moment.
Yeah, we got what?
A bit wider.
We got 1, 2, 4. And then, 6 or a bloody backward gully.
Ooh.
That's got up in the air a bit.
Why did Harry Brook decide to advance to Mitchell Stark? That seems like a very bad idea.
Wow.
Because he quite enjoys when you do that, because then he'll bang it in short or bust your toes up. Climbed a little bit.
Climbed up high enough to get hit on the gloves with it, I think.
Yeah. Yep. And that backhand.
He's done well to keep that down, actually.
Because it got it. Oh, no, it was off the arm.
Off the forearm.
I spot Manchester City. I'm used to controversy, says John. 93 miles an hour for Mitchell Stark. It was a nice straight drive for no runs. That'll be the end of the over. A very quick over from Mitchell Stark. Building it up there. Showing the way that Joe Root went out. He was stepping across the ball quite nicely.
Where the ball's landing. You've got 6 balls, and you could probably put a 10-litre bucket over all 6 of them where they've landed on the pitch.
We used to play a game like that in PE.
Yeah?
Called Rob the Nest.
Oh.
You play that one back in the day?
Back in the day.
Mitch Marsh back into the bowling attack. We had some weird games we used to have to play in PE. That sounds dodgy. Didn't mean to. We used to play Fat Mat Splat.
Wow, you wouldn't be allowed to do that now. You'd be offending somebody. Huh? Oh, rob the nest. That'd be promoting theft. You wouldn't be able to play that one because that would offend somebody.
Yeah. The confidence course.
No.
Not allowed to do that.
Can't do that. Somebody might not be confident, in which case you'll hurt their feelings and offend somebody. Huh? Don't say it, you'll offend somebody.
Good day, guys, says John. Welcome, mate. If you are doing well. Australia is about to lose in the FIFA World Cup to Nigeria, says Relaxing Kiwi. Oh, so that's awesome
a shame.
news. Says Defunct down the leg side. See, that one looked more like a tester rather than a loosener type thing.
It's just a shit ball.
Yeah, but it might have got the wicket, you know.
Trying to buy a wicket.
Everyone's got their big rain to the rescue for Australia. How's that for like the 4th test? Yeah, the rain is actually supposed to be around a little bit later on today for this test match. I think it's supposed to come maybe during the lunch break. At a 30% chance. So I'll just have a quick look at it now.
30% won't happen.
Although thunderstorms later on in the day look likely.
Yeah.
So, they're in nice shape.
Still a bit of shape, still a bit of movement.
I think
it's
it's
a swing with the overcast conditions.
Kensington Oval, I think this is.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how to spell Kensington. Zing. With S. Zing. ING. TON. Maybe it's not Kensington Oval. I can't remember where I know it's in London.
Brilliant.
Kennington. No. Kennington don't sound right. London.
There was a good drive straight down the ground that's gone out to square leg.
Going to be on the list. No. We'll just go London, England. What they got?
Yep.
Yeah, see, they got 40% chance at 1 p.m, 30% at 2, 30% at 3. Except they don't have the evening showers for London, England.
Won't have it.
So in about 28 minutes, they're expecting a light rain.
Nah, that panning around looks alright.
The Oval. Yeah, although I try searching the Oval and it just doesn't come up with much in the Google weather. Are you surprised Murphy didn't get the gig for the last test, I assume, or... Yeah, I mean, I was more surprised that they weren't willing to risk using Marnus Labuschagne or Steve Smith because it was clear that Travis Head wasn't quite getting it the way he wanted to. But Marnus bowled 1 over and went for 3 runs, so surely you give him a chance just to see if there's something there.
Wow.
Because Worst comes to worst, he goes for 10 runs, which is what your quicks were going for anyway. Well, ruled out cheaply again, says Real Peter. Yeah, chopping it on.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, Pat Cummings just got the better of him, really.
That'll be the end of the 24th over. 5 minutes remaining in the session. This is the perfect time for Aussie to pick up another wicket.
Certainly one more. Certainly a wicket here would be Aussie's session. Otherwise, England have probably just about scored enough runs to sort of certainly make it even. 109 for 3 or anything over 100 runs in a session is sort of, the batting teams had a win. The 3 wickets sort of cancels it out a little bit. So, even Stevens basically. As long as they don't lose a wicket in the last 5 minutes before lunch.
And actually, Green made way for Murphy, did indeed. In this test match, they decided to take Cam Green out for the English, though. They went with the exact same lineup as they had in the last test, so they feel confident that it could be the way to go. Well, 11 minutes extra time to give Aussie a chance. Must be a local official. Says annoying. Nah, there's been massive extra times throughout football over the last little while, hasn't there?
11 minutes?
Yeah, but that's...
Wow.
They've made a change, because I remember the Men's World Cup, we saw games with like 13 minutes added and stuff.
Crazy.
Just because that's the new way of doing it. And I think Root being back in the pavilion makes this our session, says Peter.
Yeah, you could be right. Yep. I think Australia would be pretty happy with the way things have gone.
At least sidish.
And, yep, probably almost are right. Probably is Australia's session. They've got 3 big wickets. Moen Ali's yet to get going. Brooks is, he's going all right at this stage. He's run a ball or thereabouts.
Yeah. The first...
Pressure on straight after lunch to get another wicket before anybody gets set, and certainly Australia in the box seat.
That first 30 minutes of the next session is going to be crucial.
Yep.
Because if England can start building a bit more of a partnership between these two, I think it will be, there'll be a bit of resiliency shown. That was almost a cheap way to go out for Brookie once again. Consider going after that one down the leg side. But, it's going to be whether or not Australia, with the start they've had, can consistently pick up the wickets. Because going into this game, a lot of people feel that England's bowling attack has been looking the more dangerous. So does that mean that when England are bowling, they could be finding the same movement, the same seam, and then will Australia find themselves in trouble?
Yep. Certainly Mitchell Stark bending his back on the saver anyway.
Oh, that was a nice drive from Harry Brook. Slightly uppish at the start of it, but it does race to the boundary for 4 more runs. All above 90 miles per hour for Mitchell Stark, like you mentioned.
Yep.
That down there quickly. Although that's normally just a sign that he's in decent form, isn't it, when he's actually getting that 90 miles.
Rhythms, buddy, there. And it probably means that it's his last over before lunch. It's a good dive from Marnus. He
got about 5 metres away
set
from
off
it,
of
didn't
that.
it?
Well, he died from 5 metres out from the bloody line. Good wingers try.
Can't afford Root to get 70 or more our session.
Oh,
That's a beautiful shot from Harry Brook, though, and he now moves up to 39 runs off 36 deliveries. England get their run rate back to 4.83.
certainly an interesting shot with possibly 2 balls to go before lunch. Step to leg and crack it through the offside.
Must have known it was going to be slightly shorter from Stark after cover driving him.
I bet he's picking the next one might be short.
Well, it's got to be shorter Yorker, doesn't it? From Stark here. Either that or you've got to go slightly wider and full and try and lure him into playing that shot. Even though it may end up with you conceding, they've got to heavily... Yep, it was short and Harry Brook ramps it for 6 runs.
Harry Brook, that was telegraphed. He knew that was coming. He'd premeditated it was going to be short. And he got right underneath it and said, see you later, that's going up in the stand.
That's now 14 runs off the Stark over.
And then all of a sudden, they go from 109 for 3 to 126 for 3. And that's gone a long way up in the stand.
A run rate of 5 per over in the first session as a test, or of a test, is unheard of. Although that's just been the way England have played, isn't it? They try and be aggressive, and that is why, in a way, it's hard to judge the session in terms of, yes, it's a massive wicket getting Joe Root out, but if England are going to continue scoring at this rate, that was almost a bit of a misfield from Alex Carey again. But yeah, if they keep on scoring at the speed that they're scoring, you know, you're going at over 5 runs and over, so it doesn't seem all doom and gloom for England.
The fact that they've lost 3 wickets, when you get 5 and over, you're actually progressing the game, and the wickets aren't hurting you as much.
No.
You know, if Aussie had them 3 for 80 or something like that, you'd think, right, 100% Aussie session. But the fact that they've snuck through to 127 now, you know, another 20-odd runs are 150 for 3. All of a sudden, the game's back in England's favour.
Yeah.
Like you say, certainly that first half an hour or so after lunch will dictate England's innings, I think.
Ali for 1 hour and the Poms have lost 3 wickets, says Grant. Yes, although they have also got themselves an extra 110 or so runs in that time. That's a solid drive from Harry Brook, isn't it? He's starting to find the middle. Moves up to now 46 runs just before the lunch break.
39 balls, so.
And he has the potential to play a Crawley innings here.
Yeah. Yep.
Of being able to get a lot of runs in a hurry. His anchor, Moeen Ali, at the other end.
Yep.
Not taking too many risks, but the partnership's moved up to 55. They haven't even been batting that long, about 40 minutes, somewhere around there. That's the way we roll, because we've been set free, yep. And any session we get Joe Root out for 5, that was close. Run out chance. Will the Nigerians be taking a break from scamming when the team is on? Says Hanoi. Harry Brook. Says Nazzy Williams. Marnus went to the bowlers and I don't know quite got him.
Tell you what, that was almost a bit of lazy running by Moeen Ali there.
I think he realised about halfway down the pitch, didn't he?
Yeah.
That Marnus wasn't going to just casually jog up to that ball and hang on to it.
Well played.
Still keeping the good ball out there, Harry Brook. 1 ball remaining of the session now.
We clicked overtime, have we?
Yeah, just 12:02.
12:02, yeah. So you're going to get 26 overs.
Which is, I mean, better than it looked, to be honest. And it's only because they finished that last over at about, I think it was 11:59, that we've managed to get that extra over in.
Yep.
Last ball. Marsh to Brook, away swinging, still confidently driving, although there is a man out there, so that won't quite bring up the 50 for Brook. He will be sitting on 48 of 41 deliveries at the end of an eventful first session at 5th Test match. I mean, you can't really ask for much more, can you? You've got runs being scored with some solid shots being played, wickets falling after some brilliant bowling from the Aussies. Both sides having their moments, but now this next session, that's going to be the determiner, I would say, whether or not England are able to keep on extending the runs that they're able to get on the board, or whether Australia finds some momentum early, pick up a few quick wickets. Because like we mentioned, if that catch was taken by Alex Carey that got Brook out, we have to remind it, in single figures, this could have been a whole different ballpark.
Yep.
We could have seen Ben Stokes to the crease, and who knows whether or not he would have been dismissed quickly. If another wicket falls, you get Bairstow out there. And then it's almost bowling to the tail in session number 2.
I think 1 wicket away from the tail.
Yeah.
No, certainly, yeah. Contest, both teams are in it.
You're right.
Enjoyable watching.
We saw Harry Brook at the moment sitting on the most runs out of anyone, 48 runs off 41 deliveries. Duckett got 41 off 41. Crawley not quite able to perform the way that he did in the 4th Test with 22. Moeen Ali not out on 10, and Joe Root dismissed early by Josh Hazlewood.
Effectively, really the only failure so far, isn't it? Or the only low score. Everybody else has sort of got going, had a bit of a start.
I'm just thinking about the shots that we've seen as well, in terms of whose wicket. Like, yes, Joe Root's was disappointing. Duckett down that leg side, catching up with the glove, wasn't exactly ideal. And then the Crawley wicket, in his defence, he just got a ball that he actually tried to play it to leg side, didn't he? So they've all gone out in relatively cheap fashion, but there could have also been that Harry Brook wicket. That
Aussie's fielding hasn't actually been that sharp by Australian standards. Like we said, they've caught everything in this series, and they put down. Okay, one was a super hard catch, but the other two were sitters at international level. Steve Smith, okay, we got a hand on it, but it was a pretty good effort to get a hand on it for a start, and they probably either stick or they don't. But the other two are, they're regulation catches.
You have a side you're on, or is it a case of hope they both lose? Says TCK. Well,
it's that was in the last match because they had my money on a draw.
It's an interesting one, this one, though, isn't it? Because, for the overall sake of the Ashes, if people's memories extend back 2 years when we're in about, maybe 22 months' time, and they're thinking, okay, the last Ashes series was close, so this one's going to be a lot more hyped up, that would be good. But then I think Australia certainly want to prove something here. I mean, I am just happy to see some good cricket. To be honest, no, we don't want the rain to win. That's the answer. Whichever side wins, not because of rain.
Australia want to win so that they can say that they won the Ashes. England want to win so that they can say, oh, well, you won the Ashes, but you got lucky because we should have won the game that got rained out. We were going to beat you in that one. So both teams have certainly got a lot to play for. Aussie, they've retained the Ashes at the moment. But they don't want to lose this one because, then it'll come back to haunt them. You don't want to leave England on effectively, two losses, isn't it? In a row, and a possible third loss. That's not the memory of the Ashes that Australia want to take home with them. So certainly from their point of view, they want to win it. England will want to win it so they can blame it on the rain for losing the Ashes for them. Everything to play for both teams. And, the way they play, England score the runs fast enough, Aussie score the runs fast enough, so you're always, if the weather stays away, there's a better than average chance you're going to end up with the result one way or the other. And, that was proven in those first two games. First two test matches, okay, Australia won them. But England certainly had a chance to win them. The second one especially, it only got taken away by a couple of partnerships at the end from England being in the box seat. They're only 1 wicket away from winning it, or 2 wickets away from winning it. It was just, on the day that... Nathan Lyons and co decided that they didn't quite want to roll over just yet. Credit to them. They stayed in there and they fought, and him and Pat Cummins basically battered them to a victory that could be the deciding factor in the Ashes. But that's Ashes cricket. Nobody wants to get beaten, and neither of these two teams playing today will certainly want to get beaten.
And the good news is it's not as one-sided as some people anticipated. A lot of people thought that the series, people were saying clean sweep to Australia. They were saying Bazball would not be effective up against this Aussie attack. But I think that from this Ashes series, we have learned it can be if used correctly. And this test match has been a little bit harder for them to get away with so many shots because of that consistency that we're seeing from the Aussie bowling lineup.
And because of the movement. The fact that it's swinging around and seaming around certainly makes it harder to go at anything hard with any confidence.
And it's England, the rain always wins, says Grant. Fine margins, says John. Nonetheless, I think we are almost coming to a close on this day one of Ashes action. Of course, there are still 2 more sessions, although they do take place late in the evening for us here In New Zealand, before we go, we've got to show that drive again, don't we? They seem to enjoy it. It's my only good shot that you'll see out of me all year, so we've got to make the most of it. I'm not playing that shot in the game. I know for a fact I will mistime it, I'll premeditate it, and I'll get probably bowled in this case. But the last time seeing the drive, probably. I've already done that last year, didn't I?
Played on. Look how easy that was. That was easy. Why wouldn't you play that in a game?
Because I panic. You know, it's pressure. That's why I'm better at getting those ones in the nets. I'll let the Aussies win at least one fixture this week. The Bledisloe probably won't be coming home on the weekend, says the Cabbage Patch. Yeah. Although imagine the scenes if Aussie do beat the All Blacks this weekend, you know? Be pretty massive for them. It'd open up the door for the Springboks to take out the Rugby Championship. Fun fact, New Zealand have never won the Rugby Championship and the World Cup in the same year.
Okay.
So that's a...
Well, there we are. So if we get beaten, we can statistically say that we planned it that way because we haven't won.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I think you should, says Defunct. Still playing it too early, Hamish, says Grant. I mean, I was lofting it, so if I waited too much longer, it would have been along the ground, you know? Great shot, Hamish, says John. Cheers. If you mess it up the first time, try again, says Defunct. I think the biggest problem is in a match, normally, for us, the fella at the other end's normally walking back to the pavilion most of the time, so there's no chance for me to actually play it without thinking, oh, if I go out, our team's collapsing here.
That's the terrible thing about cricket. You only get one chance.
Yeah. There's no redo button.
There's no redo button. Yeah. Oh, you can't turn it off and reset it. Okay, hang on a minute.
Yeah, rewind.
Unless you get a no ball, of course.
Yeah. Just ask if it didn't auto-save, you know, and just go back to the point before the ball.
No.
Too easy.
Never mind.
I think a reverse dill scoop sweep could be on for this season, you know?
Yeah.
A bit of left-hand action.
Yep. That'll confuse them.
Stop thinking and just swing. That's normally when I go worse, is when I don't think about what I'm doing. Because I've recently learned I don't actually watch the ball. I just look straight. You know? So that's something I slightly need to work on, I'd say. Because
too busy trying to get the GoPro shot instead of watching the ball.
Probably. I'd love to maybe play it off the back foot. The way you're playing it is too far in front of you, says Grant.
Oh.
There you go. There's Coach Grant. I think I should send it to Marnus, see what he thinks. I think he'd enjoy it. Although Grant don't like Marnus.
Okay.
They're kind of like rival coaches, I guess you could say, in that regard. No, I think it was probably a better cover drive that I can play, you know.
Brilliant.
I'm not a professional, you know. I'll try my best. I was proud of that shot. I was like, hey, I'll show the boys my best shot. And then Grant was like, needs to be better. And I was like, oh, might quit cricket. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy this stream, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It is hugely appreciated. You all being here. We will be back tomorrow night with some more of the Ashes. Hello. I couldn't remember what way I had to look for that one. Can you go down the stairs? Maybe?
No, not without the knees collapsing.
Yeah, unfortunate. Harsh critic, says John Warren. And then go with gut, mate. I won't let you down, says Defunct there. And thanks, guys, says Defunct as well. But nonetheless, thank you all very much for tuning in. And we will see you all for the next one.